Yes, welcome to Real Talk with Ghost and Big G. I am your host, Ghost. Big G is off again this week. So as usual, I usually bring in a guest to take his spot. And I got a good one for you guys this week. I'm bringing my brother. I've known this brother for a long time. He is the founder and CEO of the Brooklyn Bank, Mr. Judebernard. How are you, my good man?
My man, big ghost in the house. What's up, brother? This is Judebernard. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you doing this. And for those who don't know who Jude is not only, like I said, the CEO and founder of the Brooklyn Bank. He's an entrepreneur. He's a licensed real estate broker, licensed general contractor, landlord, public speaker, philanthropist. There's nothing his brother don't do. So I figure he'd be a worthy guest to be on the podcast this week. And I've been, based on the feedback I've been getting from you guys wanted me to talk about real estate, and who better than to bring my brother who's, I call him the guru. He's the guru of real estate. So I got him here this week, and he's going to spend a little time with us and kind of discuss his story and give us some tidbits. That sound good, my man?
Sounds great, man. Whenever I hear guru, for some reason, I always think about like the Indian music playing in the background.
There you go. I said, yeah, but I'm saying, like, I mean, you want to, like I said, me and Jude, we go back since college days. We are St. John's guys, and I seen this brother go, start from the bottom. Now he at the top. So he has a great story, and I'm pretty sure you guys out there are gonna enjoy where he came from. So first, Jude, let's get into. I have to say, for people out here in New York, especially in New York, one thing Jude does, and I think, Jude, you're gonna know where I'm going with this. Every year, Jude throws one hell of a party. Jude and I are both hip hop fans. Primarily, I would say 90s. 90s hip hop is our thing. Would you agree with that?
Our thing, brother. That is our thing.
90s hip hop. And he throws one hell of a party in honor of the late, great, notorious B.I.G. Every year. I remember with you when you started that party the first time. I think you did it the first time was I think it was at 4040 Club. I think you had like one room that you did, and this thing is just morphed into. It's an event. It's an event.
It's called the Biggie Party.
Mm-hmm.
The truth of it, it's bigger than Biggie. It's an era. It's a time. It's a feeling.
Yep.
It was a freedom. It was the music. It was the vibe. It was the culture.
Yep.
And most importantly, it was the people. So what I try to do with that event is I just try to bring that vibe back, bring back that old Bad Boy video life in the UC, and just feeling the movement, feeling the energy,
Yeah. It's like I said, I've seen how that thing has grown over the years, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of parties that usually go around because you're pretty consistent. You always do it around, March 9th. And I remember C's would advertise parties, Clark Kent. I gotta say, I don't think nothing hits bigger than yours. That's real talk, man. And for y'all guys who missed this party, my man, the ladies come out to his joint. I'm just gonna say it. The ladies they come out to your joint, and like I say, each year it's gotten better and better. Now this year, I don't think I know I didn't go to it this year. Did you do it this year?
I did, and we only had about 750 people because of COVID. And
right, only 750 people. That's with COVID. That shows you the massive size of this party.
We didn't even know like the severity of COVID and how serious it was.
Right.
Definitely we were misinformed by everyone about the situation. Had I known, I would not have, I would not have taken any chances. Luckily, to my knowledge, nothing bad happened from it. But just knowing that, in March we had so many people together. It was very dangerous, but nonetheless, we had a good time.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing, especially at that time, especially the beginning of March, we really didn't know, like you said, the severity of it, and you weren't seeing things shut down. Like, to me, nothing shut down until the NBA went down, and so you wouldn't have known.
Exactly.
But did you do it again at the 40/40 again?
We did the 40/40. It was typical. It was rammed out. St. John's was in the house.
There you go, no doubt.
Always. Can't have a Biggie Party without the '90s UC crew there.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, he plays, Biggie's in heavy rotation there. And like you said, it's the vibe. And that's a party I always look forward to every year. Like you said, because you definitely you bring back the kind of rewind the clock when you go out on that night. Like I said,
Yeah.
you seeing people, and being that we're still in New York, there's a lot of people we grew up with, that are still around, which is great.
Kind of like a segue to what we're going to be talking about. The, the thing that makes that party successful is the people and the vibe and the energy, which is one of the things in real estate that I think a lot of people don't put enough importance into, is the energy, the vibe, and the people of how you move and how you how you practice your craft, whatever aspect you're in, of of being sincere and giving and I think one of the reasons why that party's successful is because I do it with a pure heart. Whereas
Definitely.
I'm not promoting anything. I'm not charging anybody anything. It's just come out and love.
Yeah.
Come out and love. And that's the same energy that I put into all my real estate projects. It's like if I can't do it with a good clean heart, like something that I believe in, you
Mm-hmm.
know, whether it's a property that I'm fixing or fixing to sell. If I'm not doing it with the right energy, or if it's a rental that I'm renting or something like that. If I'm not doing it with a pure heart, it's just like, what's the sense of doing it at all?
Yeah, it's true, and let's get into that, because I know, like I said, that's what we got you on here, and some of the questions I kind of had about it. I know that, like you said, you started the Brooklyn Bank. For the listeners out there, tell us a little bit about what it is and how you came about starting it.
Okay. Brooklyn Bank is a nonprofit organization. We're housed in the Brooklyn Bank building, which is on DeKalb and Marcus Garvey in the heart of Bed-Stuy. Um, the the basis for the Brooklyn Bank is financial literacy,
Mm-hmm.
um, wealth wealth building, and economic empowerment. You know,
Nice.
those are three things that we beat you over the head with at the Brooklyn Bank. So um, we're all about helping the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna keep it real with you. Like, I'm gonna keep it 100. Like, the reason why I started the Brooklyn Bank is because in my real estate career, I had found that I was excluding a lot of my people.
Mm.
You know,
Okay. Now, talk to me a little bit about that. How did you? Why did you feel that way?
yeah, because basically, what I do is the basis of my business is like fixing up brownstones and like making them ultra high end, and putting like $3 and $4 million price tags on them and selling them.
Mm.
And what I was noticing is none of my people are buying these brownstones. You
Right.
know, and it's not that they don't want them, but unfortunately they're not financially prepared to do so.
Right.
So so um so everybody's crying that they're losing the neighborhoods. And what I decided to do was, hey, you know what? I can't give you these properties, but what I can do, I could teach you how to get them yourself. I could
Okay.
teach you how to build your credit. I could teach you how to save. I could teach you how to invest. I could teach you how to stack paper.
Mm-hmm.
I could teach you all the little fundamentals that that Rebecca and Chad and all of them that
Mm-hmm.
they're taught at a very early age, which allows them to thrive in this financial society where we don't get that education.
Right.
So a
Now,
big
let me ask you this now, because I know, especially the whole, you kind of touched on it with gentrification. You're seeing a lot of that, especially in, you know, Brooklyn, Harlem, things of that nature, and people are get pissed that they feel that they're Black people are getting pushed out of their neighborhoods. And you kind of addressed it a little bit. How do you, I guess, I'm not saying like, how do you feel about that? Like, I'm like you said, you can't give away um, you know, these properties, you know, but how does that make you feel that, you know, you are, you know, in a sense, kind of doing it in a sense, you know, how does that make you feel?
Well, first of all, one of the things that I'm happy and I'm proud of is that I've never stolen a property in my life.
Okay.
You know, like I look for deals, I look for opportunities, but I've I've never, you know, I've never done anything underhanded and swindled somebody out of their property and stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
so when I engage a family, whether they're black, white, Chinese, alien, green, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I sit down and I negotiate with them, and we come to a fair understanding, you know. And 9 out of 10 times, they walk away. They walk away with more than they would have gotten from any other investor,
Okay.
you know. And
Do you find that you sometimes, because I've heard that some real estate people, they even overpay for
yeah,
properties in because of that type of situation, that they'll find themselves overpaying just to kind of make them feel a little bit better.
not necessarily to make them feel better, to make myself feel better, but just because it's the right thing to do. You
Gotcha.
know, if you're ready to sell me something that costs $1 for 30 cents, and I can't, in good conscience, take it for 30, knowing that it's going to take food out of your kid's mouth and your kid's mouth.
Right.
Okay, so there's a level of responsibility that you have to take, especially if you love your people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can't sit there and say Black Lives Matter and not give consideration to the whole gambit, the whole picture of it.
Right.
So so with that being said, I'm very conscious.
Good.
I'm very conscious of whenever I do a transaction that is it's a fair transaction.
Yeah, let me ask you this now. I know in school, and I don't know, I don't think it was, real estate wasn't your thing I wanted to do as a
Now,
kid, right? So why real estate?
um, the funny thing is, you know, like they always say, you make a plan and God laughs at you.
All right.
Right? You come up with this plan, this plan of how your life is going to turn out, and God will get a good laugh. Well, I kind of during I think it was like 96, 97, when things were really when New York City was buzzing, when the Biggie Party was really born.
Exactly.
Um, and at that time, I was working at Verizon, which, no, excuse me, I was working at NYNEX. It didn't turn into Verizon yet.
Yeah, 9X. Oh man, you taking me back.
NYNEX, and I was, getting by and scraping, living at my Duke's house in the basement, and you know the drill. And
Absolutely.
I wanted more. I wanted to shine. I wanted to be. Um, I wanted to have those things that I saw, but my jump shot, nah, wasn't the best. And the 16 bars was not killing me either. So I had to,
Right.
so I had to find another avenue. So with that being said, I purchased my first property in 1997 with the simple goal of trying to make $500 a month, which would be ample for me to start like having money to have a good time with.
Okay. Right. So you're just using it. You were basically looking at it as kind of your pocket, your spending money. That's your play money you wanted to create.
Exactly. And that was really the goal. You know what
And
I'm saying?
how old are you at this time now?
97. So I'm like 20, 25.
25. Okay. So you're young.
So I'm fairly young, so I'm having a good time, and I want to continue to have a good time, but I can't do it. I can't do it with just my paycheck.
Right.
So I copped the first joint, a small little house on in Southside Jamaica, Queens, and then coincidentally, within a few months, the house next door became available, and just like I used my FHA, first time home buyers, um, that I copped that one.
Now let me ask you this. So you're financing this through the money you're making off of 9X? Is that where you're
Not necessarily.
okay? Because
Not
that's what I'm gonna ask. Because I know that's the biggest thing I've always had an issue with real estate. I was like, I'm not doing real estate because I don't have money to put down. So you're saying that you have other avenues where you can kind of finance this without having large capital.
my very first down payment. I was came from I was working on my MBA, and I took out student loans and all that, like student loans and grants, and I used that money to put down on my first house.
Mm,
So my student loan money is what I use as my down payment.
wow.
So
Okay. See that's the thing too. I always find entrepreneurs like yourself. It's a different mindset because I'm going to be real. I probably wouldn't have been scared to take that risk. And you're doing this at 25 that you would use your student loan money for the debt. I didn't even think about
well,
rental properties and things like that at 25. So you were ahead of the game just on that fact.
40 something, I'm still doing it because when COVID hit, um, I ended up like I was so afraid that the banks were going to pull back all their lines of credit. I pulled all my lines of credit out, and I ended up putting that in the stock market. You know,
Right.
and that worked out well as well.
Obviously, yeah, definitely did.
So it's like I've taken chances and I've lost as well. Like things don't always turn out the way that you anticipate, the way that you want them to. But I always my thing is that the good thing about this country is that there's no debtors prison. You know, it's
Mm,
not like
I like
old.
that.
Yeah, it's like nobody sends you to jail if you can't pay your bills or if something happens. It's not like old England when they used to put you in the stockade.
Right.
You had to stay in the stockade until your family came up with the money to pay.
Right. Right.
I don't like that anymore. So you should be able to take some risk and take some calculated risks.
Right.
It's not like I would never advocate going to Vegas and putting it all on black. You know,
Exactly. Right.
uh,
You want to take, like you said, calculated risk. So now let me ask you this: Are you a big believer? I know there's two schools of thoughts that I always hear. Do you never use your own money when it comes to investing in real estate, or are you always using lines of credit, things of that nature when it comes to real estate?
Um, I never say always to anything. There's always variables to the rule to the deal. You know, like I prefer to not use my own money.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's not enough meat on the bone to bring in um, a financial partner.
Okay.
So in the sense that um, if there's only $50 to be made, if $50 on a deal to be made, um, like, and it's going to between loan applications and taxes and insurances and all that other stuff that's required by a financial institution and points and all that other stuff. It's going to take up $30. You know
Why bring someone in?
exactly.
Right.
You know,
Now, let me ask you this now. As far as I know with, you know, real estate, obviously you bought your first home back, you said in 97. How does someone today, because obviously housing is so expensive, housing takes up 40% of a person's income basically. What do you say to people who are looking to buy their home? Is this a good market to buy into home ownership at the moment?
great market, like because at the end of the day, the $1 million house right now that that looks like it's so out of the reach right now.
Right.
5 years from now, when it's $1.5 million or $2 million, you'll be like, damn, I should have jumped on it when it was just a million.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like, there's always like one of the biggest mistakes that people constantly make with real estate is that they're constantly comparing prices to yesterday's prices as opposed to the prices that they're going to be tomorrow.
Right.
So it's $1 million now, and you're like, damn, I should have jumped on it 2 years ago when it was 750,
Mm-hmm.
750,000, right? Whereas, whereas the right thing to be like, yo, let me jump on this now while it's a million before it's $1.5 million.
Right. Now,
You know?
let me ask you this. So what if a person, like I said, I talk to a lot of young people as well, too. I speak to a lot of young people, and they have no interest whatsoever in home ownership. And I've always, I grew up with, that was kind of the natural order of things. Wherever you go to school, you get married, you buy a house. That was kind of the natural order of progression. Most young people today don't want homes. They rather rent, or they rather live in these luxury apartments. What do you say to people who rather rent than buy? What would you say to that?
Well, I have friends that I have a very good friend of mine, and she lives on 126 in Lenox. Like right there by Corner Social, and it's popping.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't, she's like, oh, I don't want to leave here. This is, I'm paying $1,900 for rent and stuff like that. But I'm like, all right, cool. Pay your $1,900 in rent. But you know what you need to do? You need to buy a place in the Bronx. You need to buy a place in Brooklyn. You need to have something that's going to constantly appreciate, because it's cool now. It's cool now to to um, to have that apartment across the street from Corner Social, but you don't want 10 years, 15 years from now, and you have no equity built anywhere, you
Right.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So home ownership is the cornerstone of wealth in this country. You know, like nine out of 10 people who have built wealth have built it through real estate in one shape or the other.
Right.
You know,
Now, let me ask you this: as far as, like, let's say if you don't have this, great job. And, I think especially with the way houses are priced, a lot of people feel that, housing is not affordable. Housing is so expensive. How does someone who has, maybe not the highest income job, what would you say to that person as far as how would they go about getting a home?
Creative, by being creative, partnering with someone. Maybe you can't get a house by yourself. Maybe you buy a three-family house with two other people, and you each take a unit. Um, uh, maybe you find some way to borrow money, and make a deal. Some sort of partnership where you can buy somebody out at a later date.
Okay.
You know, um, maybe you use some of your 401k money.
Okay. Okay. What is your thoughts on foreclosed homes?
Oh, in my opinion, it used to be a great thing, um, to buy houses below market, but in the rise of the internet era, where everybody has access to everything, um, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to um, to cut the line, in the sense that, um, if there's a foreclosure, everybody knows about it. So, by the time you're ready to pick it up, it's so many people are bidding on it and trying to get it. It's already near full retail anyway. So
I got you. Okay. Okay. But now, are you still seeing foreclosures out there, or is that market kind of?
no, it'll always be out there, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I think there's going to be a huge rise in foreclosures in the next couple of years, with everything that's going on with COVID and people losing their jobs, and just the financial turmoil that in this country, that is not really being reported on. You know,
Right.
so, um, I think I think there's about 20 million people who applied for unemployment
Employment. Yeah.
last month. Now, these people have houses, and they have mortgages that are not going to be paid, and things are gonna start to deteriorate.
Yeah. It's gonna be a little rocky. Now, I know that you do. Yeah. You're a landlord as well. How has that been? Because I have one friend I used to work with who was big into real estate, and he just seemed stressed all the time because he always complained about this tenant didn't do that. He couldn't get this tenant to move out. He had to go to court. To me, I was like, that area of real estate, I don't know if I could have the stomach for it. How do you deal with that? And especially like you said, in light of COVID and everything that's going on and people not paying their rent, how do you deal with that?
It's just business. You don't take any of that stuff I don't take any of that stuff personal. It's a cat and mouse game. I know at the end of the day, I have an appreciating asset, and luckily for me, I'm not leveraged heavily where one or two people not paying their rent takes me down. And I
I got you. Okay. Okay.
scrutinize and screen my tenants very carefully to minimize the likelihood of someone, um, being of bad character. Like, the truth of the matter is, if you're out of work and you can't pay your rent, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah. Right.
And
Yes.
I'm not, like, if you've been paying your rent on time for the last 3 or 4 years, and 2 3 months into COVID, that you lost your job and you can't pay it, I'm not looking to put you in the street.
Right.
I'm looking to work with you.
Mm-hmm. Pay
Uh,
something. Yeah. Do what you can. Communication.
exactly, communication. Um, and it's very important, that you never forget that you're dealing with people.
Right.
You're dealing with families, and this is a symbiotic relationship. The same way they need you, you need them.
Mm-hmm. Now I know that you've probably bought property through '08, financial crisis. And I know at that time they were basically giving people houses. I know a lot of friends who bought houses, no money down. There was no, 10 to 20% they had to put down. They weren't, credit didn't have to be.
And drive.
I'm sorry?
Sign and drive, like they say at the car dealerships. Just come in and
exactly. Right. It was crazy. And do you think that still has had a lasting effect on real estate today?
I think I think all that stuff has cleaned itself out over the years. It's not prevalent anymore. Like stuff like that doesn't happen anymore, and all the foreclosures, and we've kind of been reborn, and the banks are a lot more stringent.
Yeah.
Even like during this whole COVID thing, what happened was I think it was like Chase. Chase now made it impossible to get a mortgage if your credit score is below 700, and if you don't have the reserve deposits.
Right.
The banks are a lot, they're a lot smarter. They're going to get burnt again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess they had to, because that was, that created such a firestorm, in regards to it. But it definitely, these restrictions, no, I shouldn't say restrictions, but these new stricter measures has definitely made it harder for people to get homes.
The bottom line is this: if you work at Kentucky Fried Chicken,
mm-hmm.
you should not be able to buy a house for $1 million.
I don't think you can even buy a house. I just said it's,
There's a house out there for everybody, but you just should not be able to buy $1 million house.
Right. Yeah. And that's what it basically was doing. I knew two 22-year-old kids that had 3 houses. I'm like, what do y'all do? What is going on?
They're giving them away.
Yeah.
Buy one and get one free.
Yeah, it was crazy. So like, I know that you said that you help as far as people clean up their credit and things of that nature to help them. What are some of the things that you can maybe share with us of how to improve your credit?
How to improve your credit? First, the best way to improve your credit is, one, pay your bills on time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take on anything that you cannot pay, at the end of the month. Like make sure you don't carry over balances.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that you can do to improve your credit is to minimize the inquiries that you put on your credit.
So that's like when you're saying, like, okay, if I go apply for a car loan, that's going to create an inquiry.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you have to be very conscious and very very strategic about when and who you let run your credit, and make sure that it's really worth it. So if you're buying a shirt at Banana Republic for $100, and they tell you that, hey, you get 10% off if you apply for a store credit card, you gotta say, yo, I'm good on that.
Right, because that's good. That's gonna make a hit. Now, explain to the people what's the difference between a hard inquiry and, I guess, what's called a soft.
Okay. A soft inquiry, like the cable company or phone company would do, is they're basically just verifying that they have your social security number and it's right.
Okay.
So it's not documented as a request for credit.
Okay.
It's just more of an identification verification.
Gotcha.
A hard inquiry is basically saying, hey, this person is trying to get some credit. Let me see who they are. Let me see what they owe and how much money I'm looking to give them.
Okay, so that would be car loan, going
Exactly.
for a house, mortgage, approval, things of that nature. Okay. So you're saying if you want to be, like you said, I like the example you gave about the shirt. is it worth the inquiry? You know,
Yeah.
you might as well just leave it. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
you. Okay. As far as I know, just kind of speaking on the credit issue, I know you said paying on time. Do certain items, I guess, hold more weight as far as when you're paying or and what you're paying?
The biggest thing that affects your credit is your your timeliness. Like if you have latenesses hit you hard. Like can hit you about 30%. Like one late payment can drop you about 30%.
Okay.
You know, so your your available credit, the amount of available credit you have. So if you have like a $100 limit on your credit card, and you are using $90 of it, you know that's a very bad ratio.
Yeah. So your ratio is important.
Exactly. So if you have $100 worth of credit, they'd like to see you below 30%.
Okay. So just to break it down, so if your credit limit is at 100, you shouldn't be using no more than $30.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay.
And if you are using more than $30, make sure by the end of the month, before the statement prints, that you're able to pay it all off.
Gotcha. Okay. So what about as far as I know now with the minimums they put on the statement, hey, you're going to be paying X amount of dollars if you're only paying the minimum. What is, I guess, what would you ever advocate just paying the minimum?
Um, if it comes down to feeding your kids this month and paying the minimum, pay the minimum. But other than that, you should never pay the minimum.
Because you're just giving money back, basically.
Exactly. Most of the time, the minimum doesn't even cover all the interest.
Yeah. Right. At least they're good about now. They're telling you the interest, you know, and you're seeing your statements. I had a funny story. This is when we were in college, actually. I didn't know anything about credit. I
Except that,
huh?
except that, except that they were standing outside and gave you a cool cup if you filled out.
You hit the nail on the head. That's basically what happened was when we were in the UC, they were giving St. John Redmond hats, right?
Mhm.
They were giving hats out. I said, "Oh man, I want a hat." They said, "Oh, you fill out for a credit card, you get a hat." So I said, "Okay, I'll fill out for a credit card." I fill out for the credit card. I had a job working at Rock Bottom. You remember the store Rock Bottom back in the days? I had a job working there. I was making $3.77 an hour. All right. I said, I have a job. So I said, you know, we'll see what happens. They approved me. I got the credit card. They gave me the hat. I didn't know anything about APR, didn't know anything about interest, none of that stuff. So now I'm using this credit. They gave me $1,000 credit line on this
You
card.
rich.
Yeah, exactly. $1,000 credit line. And I basically not even, you know, I was barely making $200 a week. All right. So they gave me this credit line. I said, this is great. Man, I started spending that money. It got so bad that I was taking money
Cash
out of
advance.
cash advance to pay the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
How stupid was that? Taking a cash advance to pay the minimum when the bill was due. You
Yeah.
know, but like I said, as a kid, you know, you kind of learn. I learned by error.
But that's the importance of what I was telling you with the Brooklyn Bank. You know
Yeah,
that 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 financial literacy piece that we are not trained at. We're not trained and sophisticated enough to compete. You know, with other races that make it a point to teach their children um, about finances.
yeah.
You know, like
Because
what?
you think of credit, right? I literally thought of that credit. That was mine. I thought about it in my mind at 19 years old, 18 years old. That was my money. And
Yeah.
it's, you know, it comes with a cost.
Yeah, you ain't even think about a cost.
No, yeah, like I said, this is crazy. And then, which is kind of wrong. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think they do that anymore. But these kids don't have the money to pay it, and then it makes it even worse. Was I was paying that bill late? They kept increasing my credit line. They kept increasing it. So I was like, I got that thing to 20,000 at one point.
Yeah.
And doubled down on my mistake. I went and bought the credit. I bought a car. I leased a car on the credit card. didn't put no money down. I leased the car on the credit card. It's like, what are you doing? But you live and learn. I should wish I had the Brooklyn Bank around back then.
Yeah. I've made some mistakes myself. I wish the Brooklyn Bank was around too.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I said, I know you've been in this game a long time. What was one thing that I guess a big mistake? What's one mistake that you did in the past? If you can rewind the clock and go back and do it over, what was it? What was that situation?
Well, in 2000, by 2005, 2006, things were going so well with like the real estate and stock market and everything. I was under the impression that this was just normal and this is how things were, and I never gave any consideration to the downturns and the downside risk and how to protect myself in the event that things went bad. So I was completely over leveraged.
Because what the thing is, though, before you say that, I was taught, or I heard that real estate never goes down. Did you hear that growing up as a kid? If you put your money in real estate, it always appreciates.
That is actually a true statement, but that's what the second half of that statement is over the long run.
Right.
So over, like, if you look back at any 30-year stretch in real estate, you'll always see that there's a 2% there's a 2% growth annually.
Right. So it's compounded. Right.
Like between 2 and 3% over over any 30-year stretch.
Right.
Like, let's take Brooklyn for example. Brooklyn had a run where it was the property value was going up 25-30% a year.
Yeah.
Right. And for the last few years, the property values in Brooklyn have been dropping, like between 5 and 10%.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So it's just, yes, the property value always goes up, but if you got in when it was up and then you're trying to get out when it's down,
yeah,
you're shooting yourself in the foot. So does it always go up? Yes, over a lifetime.
I got you. Okay.
Not over these 6 months.
Yeah. So you were saying now, as far as, what would you do? What was your mistake that you said you wish you can do?
I was over leveraged.
Okay.
I was over leveraged. What I did was I squeezed every dollar I could out of all these properties, and when the market turned and the tenants weren't paying, and all these properties were underwater because the values have gone down and I couldn't sell them, I took a hit. I was in foreclosure on a lot of properties. Like, my credit was shot. Things were just bad. Luckily, I dug myself out of that hole, over a course of years. But you should never ever over leverage yourself. And you should, like what I do now is I never purchase a property or refinance a property more than 75% of its value. So that even if there's a correction in the market where it takes a 10 to 15% hit, I'm never underwater.
I got you. Okay.
So I always have the option I always have the option of selling.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Now, did you ever have a mentor? Like you did? How did you? I'm sure you just didn't wake up and say, you know what, I'm just going to do real estate. Who kind of was your guide or someone that you follow? Was there anyone like that that you maybe you read about or videos or anything like that that you kind of studied?
Fortunately, I had no mentor, and I kind of figured it all on my own. Um, which before you think that's a cool thing, I literally have made every mistake in the book that probably could have been avoided had I gotten some guidance. You know,
Mm,
so I'm not an advocate for not having a mentor, and it's funny you should mention that because in the last couple of weeks, one of my attorney friends has connected me with someone to kind of mentor me, like 23 years later.
right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
uh, with the hopes of taking me to the next level. So
Okay. So what's kind of in the plans? Where do you see real estate? Let's say 5, 10 years from now. How do you forecast that market?
Um, again, as I said earlier, it's like you make plans and God laughs.
Right.
And all the only thing I could do is to continue to buy smart, because to take advantage of the opportunities that are today, and to also keep a little cash reserve, and to build relationships of people I could partner with or get capital from for future things. Because in my opinion, in the next 5 years or so, in the next 3 years, there's going to be a lot of properties on the market, and which is also going to bring the value of the real estate, the value of real estate down. And again, it's just my personal opinion.
Okay. All right. I got to get my pennies together. You telling me?
Yeah, and also, we don't truly know what's going to happen with this election.
Right.
You
Okay.
know,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big factor of how things are going to play out.
Okay. All right. So 3 to 5 years, you could see we could see a change. As far as I know, for me, I've dealt with a lot of real estate agents. I guess for someone who's just starting out buying property, what do you say are some of the characteristics of a good real estate agent?
The fact, first and foremost, before they could be a good real estate agent, they have to be a good person.
Facts.
Like it doesn't matter. Um, it doesn't matter whether we're talking doctors, lawyers, carpenters, and stuff like that. They, you have to be a good person. You have to you have to care about your client, and you have to put your your client's needs as a priority.
Mm-hmm.
And you could sense that, like, you get the vibe of like people who are like
Doing it for the
usurp,
commission. You're
yeah,
looking for the commission. All right.
mercenary, and you also get the vibe of someone who, yes, they're looking to get paid, but they're making sure that they fulfill their responsibilities. They're attentive, they're responsive, um, they do research, they add value, like they bring things to your attention, they teach you, they make you better.
Right.
So those are the types of characteristics that I look for, um, and not just my real estate agent, but anybody that I do business with.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense because I know, especially now, like you said, with the internet. I remember years ago, I used to really really rely on a real estate agent to show me places and stuff like that. And then when the internet got so popular, I was like, I did a lot of my research and due diligence on my own, and a lot of the times I was finding the property and the real estate agent just kind of came along for the ride, so to speak. But like you said, you gotta find a person who's trustworthy, who's attentive. To me, I always go back to just anything in life is communication.
Exactly.
If you can communicate, and be timely, solves about 75% of your issues in anything in life.
Add value.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as before I let you get on out of here, I know that you said, you know, financial literacy is important. Can the people reach out to you? Like, do you work with individual clients? Like, how does one go about, I guess, learning some of these things that you've been talking to us about, in that
Well,
regards?
I'm pretty accessible. I'm accessible via social media. On IG, I'm at Mr. Judebernard. Um, Judebernard on Facebook. Um, Jude at the Brooklyn Bank. You know, Jude at the Brooklyn Bank is my email. You
Okay.
know, pretty accessible, and I'm a little too accessible, which is one of the problems. Uh, but like, this is what I do, and I'm a strong believer of helping people, and things will fall into place. I'm 23 years in the game, and I still don't have a business card. I still don't have like a website for my real estate business. I don't do any marketing.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, it's all word of mouth. It's all just doing the right thing, and waiting for the right thing to happen to me.
Now, as far as, like, I know with marketing, and why no business cards? Why no website?
I don't like. I've always had enough.
Mm-hmm.
You, so it's not. It's like I've never sat down. I haven't had a free day. So it's like I'm not out there looking for more business.
I got you. Yeah,
You
you
know,
are a busy dude. I can attest to that. You are a busy dude.
I'm blessed. And my immediate and my distant circle all know what I do, and they provide a steady stream of referrals for me. So
Mm-hmm. And one thing is good about you, like I said, is that I'm always going to appreciate the person who's went through all the pitfalls. Like, your business wasn't given to you. This wasn't something that you learned, from a mentor. So if anyone, you would be the person to speak to, because like you said, you've seen it all, been through it all. You've been through a market correction. So you've seen all the pitfalls that happen in real estate. So, folks out there, this is a brother to talk to. He's a genuine good dude, and like you said, he really cares, and I definitely appreciate you, for what you do.
oh, brother, thank you. I appreciate you for having me, man.
Yeah. So, folks, definitely, he gave you his social media. Reach out to him. I think just to kind of recap, you got the Brooklyn Bank. We talked about how to improve your credit, things to look for when it comes to real estate agents. Um, how to handle properties. So got a lot of good stuff there. So when you listen to this episode, make sure that you share it. I think he gave some gems here that we can definitely take and share to a lot of people who can use that advice. So again, appreciate you, brother. And any parting words you want to say before we get on out of here?
Just on like they used to say in the movie, just do the right thing. You know.
Classic. Do the right thing. I'm looking forward to the next party, and we'll catch up soon, my brother.
Brother, I appreciate you, man.
All right. See you folks next week. Take care.